Okay, we are doing this. So I feel like I've put it in speaker view. Yes, I have. I am, if you haven't muted in, if you can mute, that would be amazing. That way it's not disruptive for people. But welcome. For those that don't know me, my name is Olga Namovsky. I'm a regional vice president here in Sydney. It's been a sunny day for us today and it's a public holiday. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't a tad nervous. I had all this nervous energy bubbling up because I truly want you to get something from tonight's call. And so when I was chatting to Kristen, who, thank you so much for giving me a kick up the butt, and full transparency here, I was like, I'm a tad nervous. I don't know if I have anything of value to add to the Australian community right now. I just don't know. And sometimes we do need somebody to just give us a little bit of a kick in the butt and remind us of things. So I can't see on the screen, babe, but I know you're on. Thank you so much. And so when I was writing this training, I was thinking of myself and other people who have probably been in a state of, I am doing everything. I'm doing my reach outs. I am doing all my personal development. I'm showing up, but the needle's not moving. I'm not getting to where I want to get to. Or maybe you're 4 years in, 8 years in, or something like that. And you're still fearing what other people will say, or you're still fearing failure. Maybe you are so disappointed because your team has just gone and it is just you. Maybe you're so disappointed because you haven't promoted in ages or haven't promoted a DM. I feel, and please put it in the chat if any of those resonate with you, because I have totally been there. And what has happened for me is those collective little doubts have been screaming so loud that they have eroded my confidence. And so I really wanted to share 4 things with you guys tonight that I lean into all the time to make sure that my foundations are strong. And so the title of my training is actually how to move from where you are to where you want to be. Now, I do want to clarify, I don't actually mean how do you move from AM to RVP. That will happen once you move yourself from this false self that we sometimes live in to your true self, to your soul's beautiful energy, and you work from a foundation that serves you and serves others. I believe when we when we work on our foundation, all of the stuff that we want in life will come to us with so much more ease. So that's actually what I want to focus on tonight, is those 4 things. Now, I do want you to write down things that resonate with you. Oh my God, I love this right now. We have 111 participants. Oh, now we have 1112. Anyway, in that moment, I saw that number, which is a beautiful number to see. So tonight, I want you to write things down that resonate with you. And guys, I want you to write things down that perhaps trigger you slightly. And I'm sorry if I do trigger you, but I'm kind of not, because those things that trigger us are actually the things we need to work on. They're the things that are almost a mirror back at us. Okay, so I want you to write those down as well. Now, I don't know if Lou Fowler's on the call, but years ago, right at the beginning of my Arbonne career, we had these amazing mini conferences. And Lou, I think, was the first person that really introduced me to Tony Robbins' work. And she spoke about mastering your life. Mate, it hit me hard. I'm like, I get this. So I want to share Tony Robbins' 3 levels of mastery with you, because I believe this is why we show up every Monday night in these calls or personal coaching calls, because we want to get to a point where we are. So his 3 levels, I'll tell you what the 3 levels are first, and then I'll tell you where I think we all should be going. The first one is cognitive mastery, so intellectual mastery. I'll go through them, Kyles. It's all good. So cognitive mastery, emotional mastery, and physical mastery. Guys, I want to get you to physical mastery, and I cannot do it in this session here, but the things I share with you when you practice them are really going to help you get to a place that feels great. So cognitive mastery is when you know something, and people will leave this call tonight and they'll be like, I knew what she spoke about. I've heard it before. Here's the thing. You can have a recipe for a beautiful vegan caramel slice, but if you have it, but you never make the recipe, it doesn't matter at all. So if you have knowledge about personal growth and Arbonne and know what to do, but you don't do anything with it, it's irrelevant. Right? So that's the first level. And I believe when people sit in this cognitive, this intellectual mastery, and they feel like they know it all, they sometimes can get stuck because they're not willing to do number 2, which is emotional mastery. So this is all about, well, I know it, And so I want to practice it a little. And so a lot of us are in emotional mastery. So have you ever sponsored a consultant and you are so excited, everything's amazing, you're on fire, you feel awesome, and then you go to sponsor another consultant and they've said no, or they start in your business and they disappear. And all of a sudden you're like calling your upline, you've got some tears, you're going from up and down, like you're going to your ultimate highs to your ultimate lows. Guys, that's that emotional mastery level where we know and we feel stuff, we start to do it. And we've all been there, right? What I want to get you to, it actually makes me a little bit teary, is physical mastery. And physical mastery is when somebody comes to you and goes, that's a pyramid scheme. Or a team member says to you, actually, I'm not really getting anything from you right now. I'm going to go work with someone else. Or they leave your business or something like that happens. Instead of it flooring you, you just sit there and go, it's all good, babe. You do what feels right for you. I know I'm in the right place and I'm good with it. You may wobble for a second, but you've got this real, I'm going to keep doing this tonight, like a real strength inside of you that you're like, I'm all sweet with it. Because one thing that we all know, so this is that intellectual mastery, you know that this business is 80% mindset and 20% skills. Okay, so I'm working on the 80% with you and I want to move you from intellectual, emotional to physical mastery. This is what we're doing with all of us. This is what we do, and when we coach you guys and when we're doing these training sessions. So Kylie, who asked before, the 4 things I lean into and I work hard on is making sure that I understand, I take action and I understand the activity that I'm doing and the benefit it gives me. I work on my soul, my innate confidence, my inner confidence and knowing. I work on my belief system. I kind of like do a 30 days to a healthier belief system. And number 4 is, rather than creating from desperation, I surrender to create. And I'm hoping I have enough time to go through number 4. So they're the 4 things that I want to show you. When you work on those, you are going to move the needle more to physical mastery than staying just in an intellectual mastery. Okay, so let's dive into number 1, which is understanding your activity. Guys, we hear, and how many of you heard, activity fixes everything? We've all heard it, right? I'm actually not going to dispute it. It is so, so true. I just want to expand on that a little bit to help you understand the power that activity does have for you. So for me, activity is not reaching out and blasting out to 100 people a day, creating chaos in your business. I believe massively this generates fatigue. I believe it ruins our reputation. It creates chaos. It doesn't create momentum, and it creates burnout. You're in and then you're out, and we see it in our teams. Activity must be genuine. So windy at the moment. Activity must be genuine. It must be intentional, and it must be measured. And when you do this activity, it gives you 2 types of benefits that I want to go through tonight, and I really want you to hear them. The first one is an external benefit. So it gives you contacts and prospects and clients and team and QV and income. Go to earnings.arbonne.com. Activity may also find you your $1 million leg, right? So activity gives us all of that, and that's amazing. That sits here. What people miss is that activity gives you internal benefits. It is way more than the QV, and this is what I want to help you see tonight. So activity will bring up for you that limiting belief that is inside of you that you need to shift and move and eliminate in order to move forward, not only in your Arbonne business, but in your everyday life. And what I have seen, and please tell me for those that have been around in the business for a while, is I see people come in, they hit a block. Oh, my friend said it was a pyramid scheme. Well, I don't really want to ask someone to help. I can't really do that. I'm not into sales. They hit a block that I get so excited about. It is amazing. And they walk away because they don't dive into that limiting belief. We have to teach our new consultants that activity will bring them QV, and activity will bring every little, excuse my language, shitty thing to the surface for them to work on. This is the power of activity. So Arbonne activity brings up your limiting beliefs. Write them down, work on them. Arbonne activity will help you uncover the skills that you need, 100%. Arbonne activity will help you find the person. And this one for me is huge. We always hear that Arbonne, like your activity is going to help you find your $1 million leg. Like, bless that for all of us, right? Absolutely bless that. But guys, I have a slightly different take on that. I reckon that every consultant that walks into our organizations is our $1 million person. And I want to say I don't actually mean that they will be your $1 million player, and I'm not putting them down in any way. I want you to look at this slightly differently. Every consultant that comes into my organization has helped grow me so I can be my $1 million leg. Do you get that? That's what's important. Stop waiting for your $1 million leg. Everybody that comes in grows you to be your $1 million leg. Do you get the difference? Stop getting disappointed at the person that came in and left. I'm just feeling so much energy right now. I love this. Stop getting disappointed at that person that came in and left, or started working with someone else, or told you weren't a good leader, or ignored you, or whatever. I felt them all, and I will continue to feel them all, because I am an Arbonne multi-million dollar business owner, and I'm meant to go through all of that. Love the person because they are your $1 million person, but in a different way. They may not be your $1 million leg, but they are growing you to be your $1 million person. Please see that. So in addition to external QV stuff and income and all of that, and these internal benefits that activity gives you, for me, activity is my barometer to my vision. And I want to explain this a little bit. Guys, Arbonne is massively the vehicle for us to create the vision that we want in our life. And when I have lost sight of Arbonne and made excuses and slowed down my activity, it's because I have lost sight of my vision. I've lost sight of what I wanted in life. So over the last few years, I went through a separation. And when I look back, I realized that my activity had dropped. Now I want to give myself a little grace because some things in life are really hard to go through. But what I realized is I kind of set up camp here, and I sat in this space for a little bit too long. So give yourself grace. I'm a massive believer of that. Please give yourself grace, and just make sure you're not sitting in this space, whatever you want to call it, for too long. I've gone off script completely now. And what I realized is I let my vision slip. When I was sitting here, I started to compare things and sort of write things off against one another. And I would do things like, oh, it's not important for me to earn Port Douglas. I just want to be with my girls because they're about to finish year 12. They'll go to uni next year. They're not going to be living with me. I need to spend time with them. No, do not trade two things off. You can still want to earn Port Douglas and go for ENVP and still do the things that you want to do. This is so important. I hope you guys get this. If you aren't working your business like you want to or need to right now, please check in with your vision, because you've probably lost sight of your vision. And here's the thing, Arbonne can give us as many incentives as we like, and your beautiful uplines can throw you a Tiffany incentive or a Louis Vuitton incentive or whatever else there is, and bless that, like that's amazing. But none of that should actually motivate you more than your actual vision for your life. And if a bracelet is motivating you to do activity more than your vision, please look at your vision again. So no more trading things off. Just like with what's happening in the global community at the moment, we're kind of trading off which event is worse than the other. They're both not good. So stop, and the same in our business, stop trading off the things that you want, right? And I want to leave something with you. And if something serves you now, but it causes you pain in the future, it is not what your soul wants. Like really write that down and sit with it. So if eating a packet of Mars bars, I don't know if anyone actually eats Mars bars anymore, but I did when I was a kid. If I eat those, that's going to feel amazing right now, but it is so not going to be good for me in the future. So please sit with that one. If it is not good for you now, if it's good for you now, but it's not good for you in the future, do not do it now. So that's the first point. Understand the power activity has for us internally, externally, and use it as a barometer. All right, number 2 to help us create this physical mastery is building soul confidence. The number of women that I meet that come into the business that just say, I'm not really confident, it breaks my heart, guys. It absolutely breaks my heart. So I've got a beautiful face of Arbonne lipstick on. I've got amazing earrings and this gorgeous dress. I feel amazing. But what happens when I put my hair back and I rub all this off and I take this off and I put my PJs on? Does Olga still have that soul confidence? I want to swear right now, but I won't. I do, because I work hard on my soul innate confidence. And guys, we are all born with innate confidence. We have it. I promise you, you would not be able to learn how to walk and do all of those things if you did not have confidence. So right now, I beg of every single one of you to write down one thing in the chat facility where you are confident in your Arbonne business. Now that could be, I'm confident in sponsoring, I'm confident in placing an order, I'm confident in finding something on the source, I'm confident in being a cheerleader. I want that to go off. Sales, great. Yes, Tracy, I think you are really good at that too. Placing an order, talking to people, inspiring others. All of you, please write it down. We all have at least one thing that we are confident in our business. And the problem that happens for us is we take one little thing that we're not confident in and we make it mean that we are not good in Arbonne. We are, we don't have confidence in our entire business. That is not true. You just don't have confidence in one little area. I'm going to share some tips with you how to shift the needle on that one. So here's what happens. And the reason we don't have confidence is because we are taught from a very, very young age to trust someone else and not to trust ourselves. Mummy can do it for you. Don't do it like that. That's not how you hang up the washing. That's not how you do that. You don't eat with your fingers, you eat with a fork. At the most basic level, we are almost taught to trust someone else, right? And that we are taught that thinking differently is wrong. We're sometimes ridiculed for it as well. But here's the thing, how many times have you heard of a story of a famous person? And we've seen it in our Arbonne stories when we hear from people in conference. They're taught that they are not, I don't know, let's say a school teacher tells someone they're not good at art, not good at writing, or a sports coach says to someone, you know what, you're never actually going to make the Olympics, right? And now we look at these people and they are famous. Guys, we are taught to live in a box. We 100% are. And if that box doesn't look like this, and if our kids don't perform like this in school, and we then don't get a job and work in this way, then we're weird. We live a bit different. So here's the thing, society erodes our confidence from the beginning. It erodes our inner knowing. I reckon it's like our sixth sense. It's this knowing that we have of, but you know what, maybe I didn't score well in that test, but I know I've got my own smartness. Or maybe I'm not the best netballer right now, but I know I can do it, right? So I want you to realize that society, guardians, parents, they don't mean it, but they're eroding your confidence. This is why Arbonne is hard for people, because they live in a corporate box with degrees and all sorts of stuff. And yes, the Arbonne box is different. And here's what's amazing. Me, you, all of you had confidence to dip your toe and play in the Arbonne box. And I applaud you for that. And here's the thing as well. How many of you signed up that are no longer in the business because they hit a roadblock, it knocked out their confidence and they went running, and then they blamed you, they blamed Arbonne, they blamed the products, they blamed something because they weren't willing to look within. Please love them. And I'm going to share why in a minute, but please love them, because they don't mean to do that. They're just so scared. And so I want to applaud you right now, because you have the confidence to stay in Arbonne. You have the confidence tomorrow to reach out to one person. And in the chat facility, if you've got a team member on them, please give them a little shout out, because we have to applaud ourselves that we are still here. My beautiful upline and dear friend, Ketty, we always actually, I reckon at least like every 6 weeks, we're like, I'm so proud of you for still being in Arbonne. I'm so proud of you. Do that to your team, because it takes confidence to live in a box that is slightly different. The lid to our box is open, can I just say? So, so we do trust ourselves. What's happened though, we've started the business, so obviously we trust ourselves, but the problem is we've let some people tell us that Arbonne's bad, or that we aren't good enough to do it, or that this is a scam, or that we're manipulating people to promote, or that our products don't work. I don't know, pick your or. I'm sure we've heard them all before. We've been there. But here's the thing, we have allowed those people to erode our trust. I want to help you bring it back. Today on Instagram, I put the most beautiful quote from, I don't have the book here, from Conversations with God, Volume 3. Love that series. And if you haven't seen it, it said, if you believe the noises of the world rather than the silences of your soul, you will be lost. Mate, that's huge. Like, I love that saying, especially because I was delivering this training tonight. So we're taught to sort of listen to someone else and not follow our natural instinct. And here's the thing, we've got to be careful with scripts in this business as well, because sometimes scripts, they don't let someone be themselves and learn how to be themselves. So when you're sharing scripts with people, just let them put their personality in. So I do the power hours every day with Jody, and I love how there's a script there, and every morning it's like, guys, make it your own. This is just a framework. It's a bit of an idea. And so that's important. Just be careful. We are not promoting a script to someone that they just read out in a voice message to 100 people. It just doesn't work. When you have this innate confidence, you're able to deal with people that come up to you and go, this is a pyramid scheme. You'll just be like, thanks so much, but I love what I'm doing. I love my Arbonne team. If you want to know more, let me know. Otherwise, I'm all sweet. Just less is more. The person that speaks less actually has more power. Stop getting into a debate. This is what I tell my team. I'm like, don't respond. Just say, thank you so much for sharing. If you want to know what Arbonne is, let me know. We can chat. Less is more, guys. Please don't get into debates. So when we trust ourselves as well, we live our life. When you start trusting someone else, you live their life. Can you guys see that? If you're making decisions based on what somebody else tells you, you're living their life and the life they want to live. Make your decisions. Learn to trust yourself. Okay, so these are the 4 things that I do. So number 1 is, you know how we're sort of told when we hear trainings, if fear pops up, just throw it in the backseat of a car and just tell it you're driving. Like, I've heard that so many times. I'm going to challenge that a little bit. I do want you to do that, but what I want you to do first, and if anyone, I think there's people right now, when I say the word fear, they know this part of the business that they're fearing. Write it down on your bit of paper, and I want you to do this exercise when this training is done. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to see that fear or that doubt that's inside of you. Now, when I do this exercise, I kind of put it on my hand because that just works for me. And guys, what I'm doing is I'm acknowledging that it's part of me. And I just look at it, and in my head, I'm like, I love you. I see you. I've got us. It's okay. I love you. I see you, and I've got us. I love you. I see you. I've got us. Guys, if you hate parts of you, you're hating you. When you hate you, that's how you show up to others in this terrible energy. So please, this sort of inner child work is so important. See it, send it love, tell it that everything will be okay. Please just tell it that everything will be okay, and just say to it, you can stay here. Just sit with me. Everything's fine. The more that you do that, I've got chills all over my body. I promise you, you'll start to be okay with it. The worst thing you can do is, and I see it all the time, is people just want to cast positivity at it. And what you end up doing, what you resist persists. What you look at disappears. How many of you as a kid would see ghosts or something in your room, whatever that was, and you'd be like too scared to open your eyes. You didn't want to open your eyes. How many of you have been in that spot? When you kept your eyes closed, the ghosts felt like they were still there, right? But the thing is, when you opened your eyes, you realized that nothing was actually in your room with you. Guys, the same with fear and doubt and all those lower vibrations. Just look at them. Just love them. I see you, doubt. I see you. I promise I've got us. Everything is okay. Just let it sit with you. That will disappear, or that'll just sit in you and nothing will happen. I've got chills all over my body. Okay. The next thing I ask myself, number 2, when I look at doubt, is this really true? So when I spoke to Kristen and I was like, oh my God, do I have any value to add? I was like, giving myself a slap on the face, just changing my energy, breaking that pattern. I'm like, is this really true? Is it really, really true that of the 150 people, no one's going to get anything from me? No, untrue. That's just my doubt that is screaming loud. And so I just told it, moved it to the side. So number 2 is ask the question. It's a Byron Katie question. I can't remember which book it comes from actually, but just say to yourself, is this really true? If your kids are telling you something, I'm not really good at math. Is this really true? Is this really true? Just keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. Number 3 that I do is I always find some evidence. So if I was doubting myself for this call, I'd be like, well, I've done training calls before. I've trained here, trained there. People got something out of it. You know what? That's just my fear that's coming up. That's not true. So Lou Fowler reminded me of an evidence journal, I think at our last NTC when we all got together. Something I like doing is an evidence jar. And it's even good to do with the family. So when you do something really well, like sponsor someone or do a training or something, pop it on a little note and put it in a jar. And so then when you're feeling down, just dig something out of the jar to prove to you that you've got this. And so then number 4 technique is there's often like a skill set that you can probably lean into, and there's probably something you can work on. So it's not always just your inner child stuff. Maybe there is a skill gap that's missing for you. And so you want to spend a little bit of time on that as well. Okay, I really need to rush through these now. Okay, number 3 to help us live in physical mastery is doing a 30 days to healthy living on our belief system. I want to help you understand how we do everything from our values and our belief system. If you believe business is risky, you ain't going to do Arbonne. If you grew up thinking that you had to work really hard to be successful, then you're probably not going to, well, that's kind of the belief that you're going to take into everything that you do. If you constantly heard money doesn't grow on trees, guess what you're going to think. And here's the thing, all these little beliefs collectively actually make up your belief system. And it's like a rock. It's really hard to break. And so if you have a affirmation, which is amazing, it's kind of just going to tap on it, but it's going to take a long time to really erode that belief system. One technique that Joe Dispenza talks about with your affirmations is to say, let's say my affirmation is, I am an ENVP. Put the word why in front of it. Say, why am I an ENVP? It actually confuses your mind, because if you're not an ENVP, your brain will say to you that you're not an ENVP. So putting the word why in front of it just confuses you a little bit. So that's a little tip. So our belief systems massively dictate everything. And when someone is trying, if you're telling a new team member to reach out to their friends and family, but if they've come from a belief system of you don't actually ask people for help, they are massively going to struggle to reach out. It's important to understand what people's beliefs are, because they really determine what they do and what they do not do. And so I want to really quickly get you to write down an exercise, super quick, no thinking. I want you to sit in your subconscious mind. It's super important. Really, really quickly, it can be on the screen or on your paper. What are 3 reasons why you are not at the level you want to be? It could be because of lockdown, hubbies making you do other stuff, you don't have good skin, you don't have time, you don't know how to use social media. What are 3 things really quick that you write that are stopping you from getting to the next level? I want you to write them down. It doesn't have to be on the screen. Here's the thing, they are so real to you. Thank you. I love that Natalie shared this, lack of consistency, doubt, and fear. Okay, so they are so real. They are massively real to you, 100%. And they are also your limiting beliefs. 1,000,000% they are your limiting beliefs. And that, when you work on that and dive into that and get so incredibly uncomfortable, that's what's going to get you to the next level. So I want you to write something down for me. I will never argue for my limiting beliefs again. I will never argue for my limiting beliefs again. I will never argue for my limiting beliefs again. I think it is fascinating when someone comes to me and goes, but you don't understand, Olga, I'm just not lucky. And you don't understand, like, I don't know how to sponsor people. I'm like, why are you defending something that you don't want? Remember, what we resist persists. So stop telling me what you don't want. Stop arguing and justifying your limiting belief. Move to what you do want. Instead of I can't sponsor, I'm a sponsoring magnet. Why am I a sponsoring magnet? Okay, let's quickly look at values. I did like an hour training on this on Saturday, and it's really hard to put it into 5 minutes, but I'm going to try. Basically, actually, I'm going to do it a really cut down version of it. We all live from our values, and it's really important you understand what your life values are. You can message me privately, or I can give the VPs the exercise that I've done. When we operate from a space where we're working from our own values, we don't need to motivate ourselves. Please know that when you need to motivate your team, they're not working from their values. They're really not. So you need to understand what someone's values are. For me, I love love and connection and freedom. And so when Arbonne was presented to me, there's connection, there's freedom of choices. I didn't have to analyze the $160. I didn't. I just dived straight in. But how many people do we talk to where they're like, I need more time, I need more information, all of that sort of stuff? We see it, don't we? They just operate from a different value level than what you do. So this is a huge topic. I'm actually going to, because we're starting to get over time, I'm going to move away from it. But values are really important. When you understand your values, and you rank them, values can conflict with one another, and the higher value will always win. So a quick example, if you value family first and you value success last, you'll probably not do your Arbonne business because you've connected family to spending time with them. So you'll always make Arbonne second. I value family as well, but for me, I do my business for my family. So values are super, super important to understand. And when you understand someone else's values, especially your prospects, you won't judge them. You'll be like, oh, they just operate from a different value base. They need more information to me. And I'm okay with it. I'm not going to silently bash them because they're not doing Arbonne, right? So working from your values will help you understand your motivation and your team's motivation. Number 4, which helps us live from physical mastery, is to create by surrendering, not to create by being desperate. And this is what chaos and messaging so many people does for us. It creates desperation. I want you to see your vision. I just want you to let it go then. Just know that it's being created and work from a place of taking action. On these calls that we do every day with the Power Hour, I see so many people that will sit there and go, oh, I reached 15 and people today and I've done it for 3 weeks and nothing happens. That is working from desperation. I want you to create from surrendering, and creating from surrendering is going, I reached out to 15 today. Amazing. I'm sending that out to the universe. I know it's going to come back to me. Just let it go and just keep working on it. So there's so much more I can share with you, but I can see we're over time. So I really just want to encourage you to have a think about the power of activity. I want you to think about your belief system and is it a healthy one, your inner confidence, and please create from surrender, not from desperation. I thank you. I adore this community. And yes, I hope something I've said has resonated or maybe triggered you so that you can work on it. Lots of love, guys. Bye.